So I'm excited to be here just to talk to you about the flip side, and I'm going to go a little bit opposite of what Billy was saying, because it is very important to win, and y'all know, because the winners will attract winners. The winners will come if you're winning. That is 100% true. I 100% agree with them. And I will say, I've never been so proud of Excite as this year, and what the coaches did, and the training that's happening in the gym, from the gymnastics, the cheer, everyone working hard, doing better. I think the success of Excite, it was seen. But my flip side of that is that what are you gonna, you have to make sure that you don't sacrifice the kids along for the win. You know, and that's so important, because it's real easy to get caught up in trying to win. And I'll just speak for cheer, for example. It was, okay, Brandie, what can we do? Okay, let's try this, try this, try this, try this. Tried it, boom, it was better. Try this, boom, done, boom, done. Best year ever. I've never enjoyed working with a group of Excite coaches ever in my life as much as this year. It's amazing. So now what I say, my next challenge, what I was going to say coming in this year, jumps, right? And heart. We got to get back to, because what y'all done on the technical side of the cheer has been amazing. But now my greatest challenge to you, technical side one, jumps, is the heart of the kids. Because I think that matters more importantly than the win, because that's what the kids are going to remember. And Billy just was so gracious, and Julie, they presented me with this legacy award, and why that meant so much to me is because that was about who I am and who I was to people, and who I was to the kids that I coached. And that meant so much to me and touched me to my core. And I know sometimes I come in and I sound like, okay, don't forget to say something positive. And y'all are like, but you don't have this kid making you go crazy. You don't understand what she's like. You just come in once every now and then and you're a killer. And I'm like, and I get that. However, I have been on my side. You know, at Club Cheers Peak, we had 950 kids a week coming in. I coached every all-star team. I had my hands in the training team. I coached part of my classes because I wanted to lead by example. And so I get it. I know those ones that can make you crazy. But you know, those are the ones that God puts in your life to challenge you and to make you a better coach. You know, so it's just really a choice in how you look at it, not because it's always going to be that way. Always. You're always going to have those kids that challenge you. What I do love about what Billy's saying is for y'all for your culture, what is your culture going to be? Y'all have to decide what your culture is going to be gym-wide, and that's gymnastics, that's classes, that's cheer, that's front office, and everyone's got to be on the same page. So, if the front office comes in and a parent's like, well, I heard, you know, what's great about Excite? Well, our coaches, they love your kids, it's so much fun, and then they walk out there, you need to sit with that parent and you follow it, it's all your fault. Okay, so you got the front office trying to say this is what our culture is, and they walk out in the gym and our culture is not really happening quite like we're, you know, so y'all got to set a culture, believe in that culture, and become that culture. And be that culture on a daily basis, right? And believe in it. And the great thing about it is once you figure that out, and there's such a joy in getting the best out of kids and being a part of that culture. And love is what the whole loving spirit of Excite, and I will tell you this, the reason why I got drawn to Excite is Excite was the first gym that I ever saw a glimpse of what I felt Club Cheer was about. Amen. It was Excite. And I always said Club Cheer was the happiest, most loving place on earth. when I describe my gym, it was like a little piece of heaven on earth. I never said, well, we won the first world title, we got this many national championships, and blah, 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 blah. Never. That's never how I describe my gym. We were successful, but that's not what I describe Club Cheer. That's never what I talk to my staff about. It was about, kids will spend more time at Excite. Second to school and home, they're going to spend more time at Excite. So what are you going to do with those children while they're here? Are you going to, I'm going to coach them, be the best coach they can, and I'm going to be tough. Oh, okay. Well, where's that really going to get them? I was a great coach, but I wasn't that kind of coach. I think kids are people pleasers by nature. I think they want to do good, and I think they get further on praise than they do on being talked at and being, that negative, that kind of. So I think you lifting them up and praising them, you're going to get more out of them because that's who they are by nature. I think being a coach is the greatest gift in the world. I think you are all very gifted to be who you are. But I also think it's a huge responsibility. And I think if you can see each day is, oh God, today's our training teams, or today's level 1, or oh, today I have to deal with such and such. But today is another day that I get to change a child's life. If you see that day as a gift, and y'all, I know it sounds silly, or crazy Pollyanna, not realistic, but that was my outlook every day when I came into coach. Because when people, you probably, besides their parents, did respond. I'm kind of pinging around a little bit. I wrote my notes down, but I'm not going by them.
We'll send you clip notes.
Yeah, okay. But there's an example. There was one time that I was here, and Blake was raising his voice and was getting on this team. And he goes, I'm sorry. I go, oh, do your thing. Because you know what? It was warranted. It was one time. He is positive. He coaches those kids. He is engaged. He's always, but one time, and it was effective because they needed it. Versus the other coaches, wah, 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 wah. You know what I mean? That kind of coach. So I want to encourage you guys to always be the positive coach. In every situation, there's always a positive way to see what they're doing. There's always a positive way to phrase it. Your voice and your words can be a weapon, so to speak, to a child, or they can be the very tool that makes them believe in themselves. And if a child feels like you believe in them, they will do anything for you. And if a child is not getting what they need at home, they're going to come here to get it. And you know those children that they'll do, if they're not getting positive behavior, then it's going to be negative because they're needing attention, right? So you've got to try to find the positive all the time. You know, when we have the deduction board at the end of practice, okay, we're writing down all the deductions. Well, we got to figure out a way that here's our deductions, here's our things we did better as a team, and then we got to start pointing out individual, but Sally, your jumps were better. Thank you for that performance. That was amazing. And I know that sounds like, okay, now that's Brandie saying just to do that. But the kids, the whole WOW Award thing, it's about kids that aren't the most talented wanting to perform and be noticed for performing and doing good and having the time of their life on the floor, but they're being recognized for just having fun and doing a great job. Well, if you recognize those kids, and your gymnasts that are pointing their toes and doing their chest up and and you're pointing out, and it's recognition constantly for positive, 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 all of a sudden kids are going to be going around the gym being positive, 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 trying to get that recognition. That's just how it works, right? Instead of it always being about negative, it can be about positive. And it's up to y'all to flip the script. But just remember your voice, but what your words, that your words matter. Those of you that coached on a college team, that you come off a college team, you cannot talk to kids with that same sarcasm or tone that you would talk to kids on a college team. Even once you get close to a kid, you know, my husband and I would always say this thing to each other when we first started dating, because he would always joke around. I'm like, okay, if that joke was at my expense, is that joke really funny to me? It's no longer a joke. It was at my expense. You know, and so that was like, I'm sorry, that wasn't necessary. That was at your expense. And that was one of the ways we built a relationship, that we didn't do that to one another. And that's one thing that I do hear in the gym, is that kind of sarcasm, funny, little, but it's really inappropriate. And I think if y'all will pay attention to it and realize that you can change what you say to a point where, in just a different way, and get way more out of them than that sarcasm, because it's really at their expense and it really kind of puts them down. Does that make sense? So your words are continuing to be positive in building them up. Let me see if there's something else I wanted to say. There's a balance. We talked about that. The other thing I wanted to say is be proactive with your communication. I love that y'all have staff meetings on a regular basis. You know, and that's where you can constantly talk about where are we at? How are we doing? How's our social media? But on the flip side of that, now when we're out on the floor, you know, if a child gets hurt, you know, and I know y'all probably have a procedure for that. You know, you call the parent and just be proactive about that. If there was a problem on a team, and I know that Julie said there's been situations where y'all are being proactive and talking to the parent and making sure, you know, because really you've got some parent's child in your care. And if you treat that child like they're your own child, like you would want someone to treat your own child, and you be proactive with that parent, then that parent's going to feel like their child is in a safe place and being loved and being cared for. Right? Does that make sense? That you're constantly, this is what came up, here's what I think we need to do about it, that type of thing. Or constantly, there was a situation that came up at practice, here's how I handled it, just wanted to make you aware of it in case she came home and said something to you about it, and being proactive with the parent. Because if the parents are in the loop about what's going on, I think you're going to have better support. The other thing, let's see, I think the most important thing is that in trying to find the balance of not sacrificing the win for the kids, I think love in the end will help you get winners. If you're loving a child and you're loving the team and the team feels loved and special and you're playing games and you're having fun, and at the end when you pick your little thing that you do at the end, or when you break before the team leaves, if you get in there and the coaches aren't like distant, but you're getting in there talking to them and telling them how you feel and you're proud of them, and the kids feel good about them and you're in the midst of it with them and they feel loved and special, that whole feeling of that excite, that love, that culture, the relationship between coaches, the way they feel about each other, all that will create winners. You know, you can have a team, you can have the most talented team in the world and not nurture that team and love that team, and that team will produce they can just fall flat. Or you can have a less talented team, love that team, challenge that team, make that team feel special. You can do anything. You can do this. I'm so proud of you. And they come back in and they just rise to the challenge. How many times have you seen that? In your gymnasts, like an individual gymnast, they may not be the most talented, but I'm telling you, you give them that love and that attention, and all of a sudden they just rise up. That's how kids are. So that's where I say the one thing that stands out to me about Excite is the way that you love kids. The way that you love each other. When I come in, I feel loved every time I'm in this place. I do. I love being here. I love being at Excite. My husband's like, I'm going to Excite tonight, and he goes, I come home, and I'm like, every time I get home. Oh my God, they do so good, and he's like, really? It's past my bedtime. And I'm like, oh no, but you don't understand. The coaches, it's so good. Because I genuinely feel that way. So my hope and my desire and my one challenge for y'all is to get back to remember that loving kids is not about a Julie game every now and then, right? It's your responsibility and it's your God-given talent and gift that you have and that you should use every single day. And just as you expect your gymnasts, your class kids, and your cheer kids to get better, I challenge you to get better. You're doing that with the routines, but I challenge you to get better. How can I be better as a person to help them feel more loved, more cared for? Because I'm telling you, that will help the teams win. That will help the teams feel better. You're going to have more fun being at work. The kids are going to have more fun being here. The office staff is going to get less complaints. They're going to feel happy. You know what I mean? Because their job is tough. Y'all go out there and do your thing. Well, they deserved it. And the office staff is the one that gets it. You know? So it's like all of a sudden we got everybody working together. Everybody's feeling loved. Excite is the happiest place on earth. Y'all are winning. Everyone wants to get better. Everyone wants to be better. Everyone wants to be here. And it's an absolute joy. And then you've completely changed a kid's life. And so my question to you is this. I know, and I'm so grateful and was so touched to my core about what my legacy is. What legacy I left. And what legacy, and the new ones I want to make in the industry. So my question to you is, what is your legacy going to be? And if it hasn't been the one you want it to be, you get to change it. You get to make it better. Every day you can make it better. Excite gets to have a legacy, a reputation, but so do you. And I will tell you this, the thing that my husband gets more touched than anything, and he'll tear up, is we'll be out somewhere in just the middle of nowhere, and some mom will come up to me and just be like, Brandie, wrap her arms around me, and I'll be like, ooh, you know, it's like, help me get there, and it will be someone from Club Cheer. Of course, you know, everyone looks different, and they will just sit there and tell me about how I completely changed their daughter's life, and they can, you know, because I believed in them, and I loved them, and that's what I want for y'all. You know, I love the kids that weren't the most talented. I love them. Those are the ones I wanted to pour my heart into the most, because I could make them believe that they could do anything in the world they wanted to do. And those are the ones that would work harder.